Luffy battles his grandfather's baggage, and my main man Ricky goes berserk in Kurita Coliseum, in my review of One Piece, episode 637. I'm convinced at this point, Ricky is like the distant cousin of Guts from Berserk. Maybe it's just the aesthetic, maybe it's just he has the same fighting style, maybe it's that he's just going around this big massive battlefield like a sociopathic serial killer, killing off everybody one by one without even saying a word. All I know is, Ricky, you are awesome. You are my favorite character so far of the Dressrosa arc, and that's quite an accomplishment because there are a lot of crazy fighters, and this week was a great showcase of all of them. This was like a full-on, just big-ass action episode, and you know what? I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I love this stuff. The episode actually opens up with what was happening last week where Luffy was confronted by that new big guy. His name is Don Chinjao. He's the guy who had the rivalry with Luffy's grandfather, Garp. And his abilities are essentially, he's just a big guy. He punches, he can ram into you with his head, and he can make his beard go Super Saiyan. And that's pretty awesome. And I was sort of hoping that the battle would go a little longer and they would decide to say, you know, screw the whole we're going to settle this in the tournament thing, because that always happens in tournament arcs. But they still had a little bit of a scuffle, so I'm somewhat satisfied here. What I liked about the scene, though, is Cavendish actually helps Luffy in this battle, and there's a scene where Chinjao is actually, like, pushing them back, and they're actually, like, helping each other out for a second, and if Cavendish was smart for a second, he would just take out Luffy immediately, although I don't think he has the ability to. I'm not expecting much from Cavendish. What I am expecting to see is some crazy action from everybody in the middle of this giant battle, and I was not disappointed. There was just a lot of really crazy shit going on. Pretty typical stuff that I didn't really care for. Let me just get this out of the way. The whole thing with Elizabello, the king, he's not really doing anything yet, so we'll get to that next week. But a lot of other characters get to show off, including my main boy, Ricky, and he's awesome. Again, he has a very simple but just really cool and sleek design. There's also these two brothers by the name of Jeet and Abdullah, who are going around and taking out everybody as a team, but there's this scene where Bellamy takes them out by literally, like, stabbing them both in the foot, grabbing them in the jaw, and, like, bending them backwards by either literally breaking their neck or slamming their heads into the ground. All I know is, it was awesome, and it just shows how cool Bellamy has become. He's a character I never expected to see again, and he keeps impressing me with each episode appearance. But the one character who blew me away the most this week is Bartolomeo. He actually did something this week. Kind of. We didn't really see it. You see, he actually starts pissing off everybody in the audience by literally pissing off into the audience. He's pissing into the water, and I just find this strange, because, like, the audience isn't really fazed at all by, like, seeing people get mauled and stabbed in the face constantly. But when they see this dude pissing, they all start freaking out. It makes no damn sense. But then this one, like, karate fishman comes by the name of Hack. And apparently he's, like, fighting in the name of Jinbei, you know, just, I guess that's, like, his hero or something. And he tries to attack Bartolomeo, but it doesn't work. We don't really see what happens. All I know is there's, like, this blood spurt, and Hack's arm gets really hurt. And that's it. We don't really see what happened. Like, maybe he has fucking Shinra Tensei or something. I don't know. All I know is they're building up whatever the hell his abilities are. That could have been some new form of hockey for all we know. Remember, guys, I do not read the manga. Try not to spoil that in the comments for me. I'd really appreciate that. And even if you do, I really won't care all that much either. One Piece spoilers actually don't bother me that much, as long as you don't give away anything too story spoilerish. But this episode was awesome. The momentum was there throughout the entire episode. You know, it still did the typical long intro, recap and everything, but everything that was in this week's episode was really exciting and it moved pretty quick. The only thing I would have cut from the entire episode was the re-explanation about Elizabello's powers, about his one punch. It took up a whole minute. We could have cut it entirely from the episode to give us another cool action scene, but otherwise, this was still an awesome episode of One Piece. Most of the artwork was good. There were some scenes that looked a little weird, some things that could have been touched up a little bit more, but for the most part, most of the cool action scenes were there. That Bellamy scene was probably one of the coolest ones this week, but still, I'm more intrigued by Ricky and who he is and what his motivation is going to be. And the thing that's most exciting here is this is just like the first of many matches that are going to happen. This is just a small group of characters that make up this entire arc. And it's amazing because when you think about it, almost every arc of One Piece has like a ton of characters in it, and they all always manage to be completely unique from each other. This arc is no exception. So, because of some of the slowness and some of the artwork, I'm going to drop this week's episode down to a 9 out of 10. But otherwise, as an action fan, as a One Piece fan, this episode definitely satisfied me in every possible way. It was awesome, especially at the very end when they're finally starting to hint at Bartolomeo's powers. So 9 out of 10 for me. Please check out this episode. It was badass. And make sure to support One Piece in any way you can. Check it out on Toonami. And you can also check out Space Dandy, too. That show's pretty kick-ass. So check this one out. Cool episode. So you heard my thoughts, but I want to hear what you guys thought about this week's episode of One Piece. Did you have any favorite action scenes? Any favorite fighters? What's the deal with Ricky? And what's going to happen with Chinjao and Luffy? Remember, guys, before you leave, make sure and hit that like button so you can give this video a thumbs up. It's one of the easiest ways to support our videos, and it really does help them out a lot. I cannot stress that enough. And if you want to see more of our content when it's released, make sure and subscribe to the channel. And you can also check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. I will put links to both of those in the description box below. So guys, I will see you next time. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out.